You're tuned back into Agriculture Today, and we conclude Friday's show with a grain market update from K-State grain economist Daniel O'Brien. Daniel, thank you for taking the time to join us today.
Thank you very much, Chevy.
And Daniel, can you talk about the upcoming USDA grain reports?
Yes. So on Tuesday, September the 30th, USDA will come out with its grain stocks report and the annual small grain summary report. The annual small grain summary report for Kansas will mainly deal with, of course, wheat, hard red winter wheat, but there's a large amount of, well, we're covering all the different classes in that also. But the main focus of the report, I think, will be with the grain stocks report, and out of that, the biggest crop amongst corn, soybeans, grain, sorghum, and wheat, that where we would see an impact probably be the corn. We look to these grain stocks reports to give us some idea of what stocks are, and we have a pretty good idea of what ethanol usage is on for these crops, what exports are. We have other weekly reports that measure those almost daily, and and uh, uh, and we. But the one category we really don't have a good measure on, because USDA has a very difficult time actually surveying this, would be feed usage. So we take these quarterly stocks reports, we back out that what the uh, what what the other uses are, and then figure out, well, what's how much is left over for feed use, and that's largely what we're doing for corn. We have that to some degree also in grain sorghum, and especially for sorghum. Again, then that a lot of that's Kansas, Texas, Oklahoma issue anymore. Given where we grow that, and where those markets are, we with this very slow exports for sorghum, we're really focused on what the usage of sorghum is anticipated to be for feed usage, and also really it's kind of surging of late pardon me, grain sorghum usage for ethanol production too. So watching that, and also you'll see this residual calculation. Again, quarter to quarter, be the June 1st number to the September 1st number for the June, July, August timeframe. We'll be looking also at estimates of wheat feeding that have gone on, and we've had low enough wheat prices that it's not out of the realm of possibility that we could afford in cattle feeding areas to actually feed some wheat. So we'll see where that goes. But I guess I would say that the expectations for this report on the grain stock side are almost for absolutely no changes, which means if there are any changes, then the market could move. The average trade estimate for excuse me, for grain stocks, for corn stocks is at 1.337 billion bushels, and that number now that'll match up with the August 31st September figure for the corn supply demand balance sheet for the ending stocks for the last market year that ended August 31st. And if so, the market's expecting just a little bit more in ending stocks. Well, let's make sure I've got this right. Uh, it's anticipating more ending stocks than what USDA had indicated it expected for the 2024-25 marketing year than what they had said on that last September WASDE report of 1.325. So I got a little bit of sway in terms of where that market might end up at, and of course the stocks figure for that last marketing year way lower than we were a year earlier than on this same date. So when we finished up the 2023-24 marketing year, we were at 1.763 billion bushels, and now we're somewhere around 1.3 or so. So Chevy, if we didn't have humongous crops coming on for corn, then we'd be in a pretty tight supply demand situation. But the large crop, again, 116 plus billion bushels, had just sort of overwhelmed the tightness of the old crop marketing year. So that's just the case. Small changes expected for soybeans. Also, the average trade estimate about 323 million bushels as for the ending stocks. Essentially the ending stocks figures that for the 24-25 marketing year. In the September WASDE report, the projection was for 300 million. So here, as for corn, so goes soybeans in that there's about a 25 million bushel increase expected in ending stocks from what had been stated in that September 12th WASDE report. So anyway, if I don't know that 25 million bushels are going to change the outcome a lot on the markets if the trade's right or wrong, but at least that's something to watch and could be a small supportive positive if those if we have anything different than what the USDA had said in that last WASDE report, by i.e. 15, 20, 25 million bushels more. And then for wheat, the average trade estimate for grain stocks, of course, we're not looking at end of the year or beginning of the year mark stocks. We're looking at again. June 1 was the June 1 stocks represented the beginning of the marketing year. Now we're anticipating about just a little bit over 2 billion bushels of ending stocks. And that's within the trade range of about 2.1 to 1.995 something. So you got that. Now, kind of also buried within this, by the time the USDA gets a year out from where they were a year ago from the in terms of last year's crop, they'll start to back calculate and figure that, well, gosh, if something is wrong here, when we think we have a pretty good handle on all these numbers, it drives them to go back and look at the size of last year's crop. So that will be and really, if there's anything that's kind of a after the fact surprise, it would be that the USDA could come back in and figure out that, well, gosh, we over or underestimated the 2024 corn or soybean crop by some appreciable manner. And I think you can throw grain sorghum in on that and any surprises. So right now, at least by my estimate, or pardon me, by the pre-trade estimates, really no expectation of change at all for soybeans in the 2024 crop numbers. But there is some anticipation that the corn crop will be looks like about 15 to 18 million bushels higher than, 15 to 18,000 yeah, I guess that'd be right. Billion bushels, pardon me, get my decimal right, decimal points right. Just a little bit higher estimate for the estimate of an adjustment higher for last year's crop. So you got that as it is. And so I think the best thing to say for the stock side of this and last year's crop all thrown together is that there's expectation of minimal change. So with that, if we do get anything that's appreciable, instead of 20, 25 million bushels, we'll say 40, 50 million differentials from what's expected, then there's potential for volatility, particularly to the upside if we're short on stocks. If it's equal to or larger supplies, I don't know how much lower prices will go. That would be my thought. And then also would figure we'll also have that small grains summary report that comes out, the annual number representing what we have on September the 1st. And again, I almost to the decimal point, we were anticipating no changes from what the USDA had recently said, which means there's some risk of something of changes that may come on if we get anything other than just the standard rote repeat of previous numbers. So we'll be watching that for wheat. We'll watch most closely the hard red winter wheat crop size figure. Here we got for the average trade estimate is 768 million bushels for hard red winter wheat for 2025. The trade in that come out of the September NASS report, anticipating just that or just slightly higher. So we'll be watching that, and it's these sleeper issues that come in that we're surprised by that can cause cause the markets to move around. So come 11 o'clock on Tuesday the 30th, we'll be watching closely to see if pardon me, any issues come up that are surprise.
And Daniel, there's been some positive discussion around exports.
Yes, we continue to see pretty strong U.S. corn exports. Here for the week ending September the 18th, I had just about 52 million bushels of actual shipments occur. We need a pace of about 57, 58 to meet the USDA's record high projection of 2.975 billion bushels, but still over 50 at this time of year is pretty strong. The we have seen some grain sorghum use movement, 1.2 million bushels, which is strongly higher than where we had been here in recent weeks with sorghum. Probably the biggest surprise would be that what we've seen on wheat exports. Again, we have nothing to brag about at all in terms of the strength of wheat prices. Yet we have the strong movement, a lot of it hard red. Uh, for for hard red winter wheat, for the week ending September the 18th, we had just under 12 million bushels of movement of actual sales. Need about 5.6 to meet the USDA's projection. So right now, hard red winter wheat exports in the grain markets are leading the way, and I'm sure farmers wish they had a higher price, but anything we can clean out now out of our domestic supplies makes more room for later when we can hopefully see prices recover.
Daniel, thank you for taking the time to join us today.
Thank you very much. Take care.
Again, that was K-State grain economist Daniel O'Brien. That's all we have for you this week on Agriculture Today, but we'll be back with more for you on Monday.